Hey guys, MasakoX here, and welcome to another edition of The Comment Section. Yeah, sorry about the delay of about 2 weeks or so. With the first week off, that was me down to just having a really bad head cold. I mean, my jaw was just like awfully bad. And then last week, I had some freelance work, so that ate up most of my time throughout the week. So that kind of put a blinker on that. But before I begin, I actually want to say and remind you all that I actually have postcards available. These ones right here. And if you wish to have my autograph on here or whatever you'd like me to write on the back of these, just ping me a message on Twitter at MasakoX and then we can arrange something. Or if not, you can send a stamped addressed envelope to Lawrence Simpson, PO Box 203, Borden, GU 35 5DS. As well as if you want to send me other little gubbins and fan art on whatever you wish to send, which I will then feature on this channel. Thank you for this announcement, and now, on to the questions! I want to know how many states you've been to in the United States. Which ones? Well, I've definitely been to Michigan, I've been to New York, I've been to Florida, Texas, Nevada. I went to Las Vegas one time for Little Crevo's wedding. Illinois, Maryland, been to Washington DC, Alabama, Virginia. So I guess maybe about like 10, but it's mostly been on the East Coast for the moment. There haven't really been many West Coast conventions that I've either invited Team 4-Star or myself, so that could change, who knows? What's something you absolutely love about anime and absolutely hate about anime? Well, what I love about anime really is just about how inspirational it can be, because there are just so many great examples of character development. Like, whenever you start off an anime, you don't necessarily see that same character go all the way through to the end. They change in some way. There's some kind of evolution. Whereas with Western cartoons, before, not so much now, there wasn't really any development. It was kind of just like one episode of the day and you get that same character forever. They might learn something, but then they go back next week and not learn a single thing. It changes, it evolves. But what I hate about anime is the fact that nowadays it tends to want to pander towards the young male demographic and have boobs and butts and panty shots and all that kind of stuff. It's a bit cheap, really. I mean, I think one good example was the creator of Elfen Lied made a newer series called Brynhilda in the Darkness, and I thought that was going to be really cool. But then as it went on, there was way too much fan service for my liking. And yes, I know, Elfen Lied had its own share of fan service, but it was more discreet, and it wasn't as overt as Brynhilda in the Darkness was. So that kind of change really unsettled me. It's a bit of a shame, really, but yeah, that's what I don't like about anime these days. Pandering. Did you ever watch the infamous Dragon Ball GT? If yes, what are your thoughts on it? I did watch GT. Well, at least most of it. And honestly, I think it's okay. It's not terrible. The first 40 episodes aren't terrible, because that's where the original run of Dragon Ball GT was meant to last, to the end of Super 17's arc, but then they tacked on another 24 episodes with the whole Omega Shenron type thing. They just resorted to using Kid Goku again. They should have just used it as a continuation, having Trunks, Pan, maybe Goten. Maybe have those three go out and have an adventure. Why Goku? Oh wait, Goku sells. Oh well. I feel like it definitely showed that Toriyama had very little to no involvement in this production, and that's a real shame. That's why I like Super. He adds more direction with Toriyama, so I feel it's more authentic. What is your favourite Pokemon generation / game? I had the most fun with Pokemon X, really, just because of the new graphics and the new immersion and kind of stuff, but I did love Generation 5 Pokemon White. Soul Silver and Diamond and Platinum felt very over encumbered with loads of stuff to do. It felt really feature rich, like too rich. Whereas I felt like Pokemon White kind of pared that back a little, and it went back to basics. And I felt more in tune with the story, and I felt it had more of an evolution in terms of the plot, as in there actually was one. Pokemon X, that was a lot of fun too, just to be able to customize a character, and it felt more like my adventure. So yeah, it's a bit of a mixture of Generation 5 and Generation 6, although Generation 1 will always hold a special place in my heart, because, you know, it's the OG. You gotta. How did you get into anime? And what was your first anime? It actually came down from my brother, because my brother was into anime in the early 90s to mid 90s. He had a lot of the kind of gory stuff. Like, I remember he had a VHS of Urutsuki Doji, Legend of the Overfiend. Thankfully, I didn't watch that when I was 9, so I watched Project A-ko. Project A-ko is probably the one I remember the most from when I was that age. probably Samurai Pizza Cat, even though it was really changed for the localization in the US and the UK. It was still funny and weird. So I guess it's a mixture between Project A-ko and Samurai Pizza Cats. Despite what GT did to Pan, would you say that the way her name ties into Videl and Gohan's family is kind of brilliant? In keeping with the Son family tradition, it is named for a kind of food, with it being bread this time. With Videl's side of the family, she is named after the Greek spirit Pan, who would later become the basis for the cloven-hoofed interpretation of the devil. Finally, it is named after a kind of flute which ties into Piccolo. Whoa. I mean, that's not a question, but I just had to include that because that's brilliant. Mine. Do you know how to speak any other languages? What are your top 3 languages you want to learn? Well, I did learn French for the longest time, from like the age of 4 to 19. I'm really rusty in French now. I dabbled in a little bit of German when I was a teenager, just to be able to get into a language school. Oh, and I learnt Latin because, I learnt that in private school. So I suppose really I knew at the time when I was about 15, French, Latin, and German. But in terms of the languages I want to learn, I would love to learn Japanese. I would really want to learn it properly. Not just through anime, but really dig into it. Because I feel like having an ear for languages, that I've got an idea for pronunciation. So I think I would pick it up pretty quickly. Or at least know how to speak it. I'd like to pick up French again a bit more. Finnish sounds like a bit of a challenge. I went to Finland about twice. And it's just such a really interesting language. I'd love to pick it up, or at least try and converse in it. How did you meet the TFS crew and Little Karibo? Well, that old story of meeting them all in 2007 and having mutual passions of work for each other's abridged series, that's a bit of old hat. But the most interesting one was when we met for the first time in person. In 2009, it was YomaCon in Detroit, Michigan. It was the first ever convention we'd been invited to as guests. And the first person I saw was Lanny. And I remember running over the hotel car park and shouting, "Lanny!" And he just looked around and he was like, "Masako?" And that was the first time we had a hug, and it was just really weird because we didn't know what to think of each other. I mean, we knew each other from all our works and stuff, but man, it was weird. Then meeting Kaiser, that was really trippy. And Taka was just like, he ran out of the car that he arrived at the hotel in and just bear hugged all of us. For the first time, the team at the time was complete. And then Little Karibo showed up a few hours later, and that was just really strange because we were all so shy and awkward with each other, but within a couple of days, we just become truly good friends. We knew that we'd be friends for life, and having to part, that was painful. I remember crying when Taka left. I remember crying when they all left. Yeah, leading cons is really hard sometimes. I'm pretty sure you all know that. Why did you decide to do your Goku voice that way? Well, it was all of an evolution from the old Neighborhood Cluck days, because I remember when I kind of did Goku like this, so having the hero type thing here, a little lower, not as playful, but it will be around here. And honestly, he was a bit of a jerk in those interpretations, but when we came to do Team 4 Stars Goku, I repriced that, but then kind of made him a little higher, but due to my inexperience, I kind of just kept him really kind of more rounded and stuff, so he was like that. Over time and direction with Kaiser Neko over Skype, we kind of got a good thing about with Goku being a lot more playful and a lot more exuberant and a lot more passionate. Kind of like that. Have you ever had experiences with bumping into fans while you were just out in public? Not like events, but just an ordinary day. There have been a couple of times. One time that is really strong in my mind. I was waiting with a friend in a train station for somebody, and a guy just came up to me and asked me who I was, and I said who I was. And he asked me to just sign a book he was reading. Just a random book. And I signed it, and he was just so happy. We talked for a few minutes, and then he had to go and catch a bus, and unfortunately we had to part ways. What is your opinion on Ruby? What do you think are its pros and cons? I remember your tweet a long time ago that you said Yang and Goku have made good friends. Is she your favourite character? I really need to catch up on Ruby, but honestly, I feel like Ruby is a great bastion of creation from YouTubers and internet creators. It's the entire consensus at large thinking, we want to make a show. Let's just go do it. Yeah, there was Red versus Blue, but Ruby was a whole other animal, really. Making this whole thing in CGI right from the ground up, it was a massive undertaking, and Monty God rest his soul, did a really stunning production. And yeah, it may look a little ropey in terms of CGI and stuff, but the story is there intact, and over time the CGI just gets better and better. And yeah, Yang is kinda cool. And I'm sure that she and Goku would make good buddies. Do you ever worry about being typecasted as DBZA Goku type character? And unrelated, glad to hear you're not part of Fullscreen anymore, as they have generally a poor reputation from what I've heard. Yeah, I've been hearing about that too recently, especially with their rebrand, because it makes it look like Fullscreen is sort of just gearing itself as a TV channel and less of a network. I don't really know the full ins and outs about that, but I don't know, it strikes me as odd. I'm just glad I'm with Screenwave, it's more straightforward. But as in terms of being typecast, really I'm not that worried. I like doing the type of Goku voice, so the hero, young, goofy voice, it's my jam. I like doing it. But I probably won't be saying that in 10 and 20 years time. So, for now, I don't mind it, but later, maybe I might. What are your thoughts on One Punch Man? Do you recommend watching it? Also, do you think Saitama is strong enough to defeat Goku, considering that he can defeat anyone in one punch? Yeah, I'm not gonna get into that. There are two completely different universes, and I'm sure that really, Goku and Saitama wouldn't really fight anyway, because they both want to get food, and Saitama wants to get it on the cheap, and I'm sure Goku would appreciate that mutual desire and appetite. But in terms of One Punch Man the anime, I really dig it. It's a lot of fun, and it's a really good, refreshing take on the superhero genre. We needed that, and just to have this kind of thing where like, okay, we know that the hero's gonna beat the bad guy, so let's actually take a look at him as the character, see what he's like. So strip away the tension so you can actually get into the character depth and model that from there. The Goku image that you use for Go Q&A is from Dragon Ball Online. Did you have a chance to play it? And don't worry about your English. Your English is absolutely fine. I wish I got to play Dragon Ball Online. It should have come over to the States. I don't know why it didn't. But I suppose that, you know, some of the things they learnt from online kind of went into Xenoverse, so we sort of got it indirectly, I suppose. But it would have been nice to actually play an English version of the game. But speaking of Go Q&A, it's time to move on to that very section now with Go Q&A! And I said that twice, but anyway, Go Q&A! 3 times.
Go Q&A, yeah! Yo, 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 what's up, my Go crew? Have I got some answers for you? Dear Goku, why did you punch me in the face so many times? Well, I don't know. Why did you keep running into it? Goku, are you pondering what I'm pondering? Well, I think so, Nyankyo, but I just can't believe it's not Birder. I mean, it's Birder. Birder is Birder. It's not like butter or anything. That goes on my Grand Slam, that's delicious, but Birder, ugh. Is biting your enemies a habit, or is that some sort of technique you resort to? If I can eat a person by biting them, then they become food. If I bite them and they don't taste delicious, then I fight them. Hey Goku, I challenge you not to think about food for 30 seconds. I don't care about what you think about. It could be Chi-Chi, or training, or whatever. Just not food. Okay, that's gonna be easy. Like, I can talk about rainbows, and, man, this is hard. I must not think about that thing, though. Bread, food. Ah! Hey, Goku! If you had to choose one person to fight for eternity in Otherworld, who would it be? It would be my best bud, Jeets, 'cause it's so cute whenever he gets angry when he loses. It's so funny to watch. It's so cute. He thinks he can beat me. Hey, Goku! If you were turned back into a child with a new type of Dragon Ball, and when those are used, you have a year or the Earth, and every muffin exploded, and you had to travel with Trunks and a random girl named Pan, what would you name your adventure? I would name it The Great Adventure of Goku and the new type of Dragon Ball, and when those are used, you have a year of the Earth and every muffin exploded! And traveling with Trunks and Pan and friends and things. Yeah, I'm not good with titles. Goku, when I'm writing this, it's Depression Awareness Week. What advice would you give to people who find it hard to smile? This is a bit of a serious topic, but I just have to think. There's always something out there to be happy about, whether it's the weather, whether it's yourself or your friends, or your family. There's always some out there looking out for you. Because even though Chi-Chi is really, really mean to me, I know that she cares. Because if she didn't care about me, my dinners would taste horrible. So, Just think about all the people out there that are rooting for you. There's always someone out there rooting for you. I got you. There you go. Bro fist, yeah. To Goku. You see Mr. Popo holding a tray full of muffins, and there's even some with bacon on them. Ooh. He says you can have only one muffin, then smiles. What do you do? Oh, I kinda ate it already. I kinda just went up the... Go Q&A, yeah!
Thank you, Goku, and ooh, you better go and have a rest before you come down massively or something. Oof. Anyway, guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and hopefully tune in next week for the next comment section. If you want to have a question answered on this very program, just leave a comment below, and I'll probably get to it. So be sure to like and subscribe this video and tune in for more videos to come. So until next time, guys, catch you later.